Hello and welcome to a brand new festive crafting video with myself, Anthony Minnis. In this video I'm going to hopefully inspire you to create your own Christmas Eve box. And as you can see, this box here is my Christmas Eve box. So what I've actually got is some beautiful products from the local Hobbycraft store. And this beautiful box, and we've got some Scrabble-like tiles. I've also got some acrylic paints. I'm going to go for the traditional colours. As well as that, I've also got this beautiful Christmas ribbon. And then on top of that, we have got some stars and we've got some snowflakes. So with a bit of luck, I'm going to inspire you to create your very own Christmas Eve box. If you like the contents of this video, please click on the like button. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and if you haven't done so already, why not click on the notifications button. This will allow you to be notified of all brand new content that I upload to my YouTube channel. Right, without further ado, let's get Christmas crafting. So before you actually start painting the box, I'm going to paint mine red. The very best thing to do is take off all of the furniture. Now when I mean furniture, I mean all the little clasps like that, and also the hinges. This one inside has also got another one just here, so we need to take all of those off because it will then make it nice and easy when you actually come to paint the box. Now if you're like me, I would recommend that you grab yourself a little pot, and every single screw and every single hinge that you take off, you pop into that pot. Then it's going to keep it completely safe for when you come and put your box back together. So I've just got one more to go. Okay, and then just pop that into a little box or a tub for safekeeping. So I'm just going to pop that away, and now we have the lid and the actual box itself. So first of all, I'm going to start painting. So I'm just going to paint the inside of the lid green. So I've got the box lid here just turned upside down. I'm going to paint it, like I say, green. So just going to use some acrylic paint. If you want, you can pop some gesso onto the surface first. Entirely up to you. So just go in there. If you find that the paint is a little bit hard to spread, then just spritz a little bit of water onto there as well, and then you'll find that that will easily go into all of the corners. So I've just about finished this one. Now because I hadn't gessoed it, I may need to go over with a second coat, but I'll decide that once it's actually dried. So what I'm going to do now is just let that one dry, and then grab the actual box part, the bottom part, and then do green inside that as well. So I'm popping quite a lot in here. This is a nice deep box, so just go around and just paint that. If you want, you can use a sponge as well to actually apply the paint, but you probably find a paintbrush is easier to get into all of the corners. So once you've painted the inside of the box, let that dry as well. So now we're going to paint the outside of the box. So I'm going to use some red acrylic paint, and this time I'm going to use a sponge brush. I'm just going to push the paint around there. The reason I'm using a sponge brush on the outside, for one, it's easier because you haven't got to get into any corners on the outside, and I want like a smoother finish, and possibly I want to show some of that wood grain actually there. So that's what I'm going to do. So just all over. So you don't want it to really dry, you just want to start pushing that paint actually into the wood grain. So on the underside of the lid, I'm just going to dab some red paint onto the surface there, and let's just dab that on. Okay, and just go all the way around on the box. Right, once you've gone all the way around again, just leave that one to dry. So now we're just going to do exactly the same paint technique using a sponge, pushing it into the grain of the wood, and this is now the base, or the very actually bottom of the box. So again, I'm just going to go on the bottom around here and then all around the four sides. So whilst all of that paint is drying on both the box lid and the box base, we're just going to concentrate a little bit on some of the decoration that I want to put inside the box lid. What I've gone for is the words merry and bright. So it just sort of like adds a little bit more interest to the box once it's actually opened. So what I've got here are two of the chunky stars that I've got from Hobbycraft, as well as the star. So I think the star we're going to go for a glitter, and this is a biodegradable glitter. And then for the snowflakes we're going to use some white acrylic paint and possibly a little bit of iridescent sprinkled on whilst it's drying. So let's get to that. So as we did before, I've just applied a little bit of paint onto my glass mat. I'm just going to use a sponge brush once again. I want a fairly thick coating of the paint, because what I've already done on this one here is I've then sprinkled some iridescent glitter. So give that a real good coat. I'm just going to bring in my scrap piece of paper, and then we're just going to basically sprinkle the glitter into the wet paint. So basically the paint is going to act like a glue, and it's going to hold all that iridescent glitter in place. Okay, so there we go. We've got a little bit of sparkle there going on. I'm just going to pop those two aside, and now we're going to concentrate on the star. So what I've done now is just get some PVA glue, and I just poured that into the center of the star. I'm just going to now start brushing that out. Okay, so just going to go all the way onto the 5 little points of our star, and the PVA glue is going to then hold the glitter in place. We want this really quite sparkly. So just go all the way like so, making sure you've really got the glue right up to those points. Okay, I'm just going to bring in my scrap piece of card again, and then just using the glitter, we're just going to sprinkle that all over, so a real good coating of that glitter. Okay, there we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a little bit of scrap paper. Okay, so this is a piece of scrap paper, even though it is a decorative piece of scrap paper. I'm just going to press that in just a little bit. Okay, so that glitter has really embedded now in the glue. I'm just going to leave that now to dry before I shake off the excess glitter, and then we'll come back to that in a moment. So let's just place those two snowflakes and the star aside. So with our letters that spell merry and bright, I'm just going to use another sponge brush here. I've got some gold acrylic paint here, and what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to go round the edges. You're not going to see much of this, but it's just a little hint of the gold, which is a nice little finishing touch. So I'm just going all around just the outer edge, so you can see there's just a little hint of gold going on there. If you want, you can go over that twice. It just depends how much you want to emphasize the edges of those little letter plates there. So I'm just going to go ahead and do all of those. So as you can see, just by adding that gold around the edge of all of those little squares with the letters on, it just gives you that sort of like slight antique finish, which is really quite nice. So there we go. Now with the little Scrabble pieces from Hobbycraft, they do come with a glue dot on the back. I've actually taken those off because I'm going to be using a silicone type glue or a gel medium to actually stick them in place. But it's entirely up to you, whatever you're happy with. I just find that the glue gels and the gel medium just give you a little bit of time just to position those little squares or little pieces wherever you wish. You can have time just to twist them. So I'm just going to go over that one a little bit more. Okay, and then we'll have a look at our star. So our two snowflakes are definitely dry. I'm just going to pick our star up, and that beautiful chunky glitter there, that really sparkles. So I'm going to stick the ampersand on the top. Okay, but we'll do all of that once we actually position everything inside the box lid itself. So we've now got our box lid near enough dry, I think we can actually work on that. So what I'm going to do now is stick the star in place. So if you're a little bit of a perfectionist, possibly I am, I'm just going to stick my ruler in the middle there so we can see where the star is going to go in the center, which is about there. And I'm just going to measure top and bottom. It's about 7.5, and that's not too bad in actual fact. So I'm just going to go slightly higher up, okay, like so. And then the glue I'm going to use is a 3D gloss gel from Finnabair. So this is my preferred wet glue. So keeping my ruler in place, and just move that over a little bit. Okay, so we've got the 15 centimeters is the middle. Okay, and then I'm just going to pop some of my gel medium, just using a brush, onto the back. We don't want to put too much on, so we don't want it spilling out when we press the star into place. Okay, so maybe just a little bit thick on the center part. So I'm just going to position that. Okay, and then I'm just going to use a piece of kitchen cloth here just to press that star down. Okay, like so. There's a few little bits of loose glitter, but that's fine. I'm just going to hold that up just so I can see. That's about right. Again, I'm just going to use another ruler that I have just to make sure that's really in the center. So we've got 9.5 there, and we've got 7 there. That's perfect. I always like to just raise it up a little bit more. So all that's left now is to pop in the merry and bright letters. Okay, so let's just pop all of those in, if I can actually find them all. There we go. Merry and bright. Okay, B, R. Make sure you get them the right way around as well. G, H, and T. Okay, right, so like I said, the ampersand is going to go in the middle there, and we've got our beautiful snowflakes that are going to go there as well. So I'm just going to pop the snowflakes, I think, into position next, and then we'll sort of like circle those round a little bit. So again, just using the gel medium. Okay, just pop a little bit onto the widest areas of the snowflake on the back there, just so when you do press it down it won't spill out everywhere. Okay, so I'm just going to position that one over here. Okay, and then when you're happy, just press that down a little bit, and likewise with the one on this side. Are they straight there? Yep, they are. Okay, right, so with the merry, that's quite easy to actually do because it's 5 letters there. Obviously the R in the middle is going to be the one that's upright. Okay, like I say, this is where the glue really does come into its own, because it's not going to set straight away, which is quite important. Okay, so let's pop the R in place. Okay, and then we're just going to go with the E and the R either side of it, so we're sort of like arcing those letters round like so. So again, just pop a little bit of glue into the center there. Okay, and look at roughly where you want to space it, so, and angle it as well. Okay, and then just continue to place all of those letters however you wish. Just make sure that you spell everything right, because I'm legendary for my typos. Right, so there's the box lid all done. So that spells out merry and bright with the twinkly star in the middle, and also the twinkly little snowflakes as well. And like I say, with the gel medium you can just keep on moving things around if you're not quite happy with the placement. So that's the box lid inside done. I'm just going to let all of those elements dry, and now we're going to concentrate on the box base. So the box is just about dry, so what I'm going to do now is just do a little bit of dry brushing around the edge. So exactly as we did before, I popped some gold paint onto my mat. I'm just going to take a little bit of that and then just pop that like so. Okay, so there's very little paint actually on the foam brush, and then I'm just going to pop that up like that, and then just going to brush just a little bit around the edge. Now because it's dry brushing, it is going to take a little bit of time to actually achieve the colour. We're not going to achieve like a brilliant coat of the gold first time, so it's something you just have to keep on going over. Okay, and then when you're happy with the finish, then you can just go on to the other side. So I'm going to do all of the edges with this one, like I said, just to make it a little bit more Christmassy, a little bit more antiqued. So I'm also going to do the same gold treatment to the lid as well. So again, just squeezing some gold out onto our glass mat, just grabbing a little bit on the sponge brush, okay, and then just lightly, and I do mean lightly, just start going around the edge there. Okay. So there we go. Just go all the way around. So when you feel that the no more paint is actually coming off the sponge, then just grab a little bit more and then just continue on your way around. So I've gone around the edge there with the gold, and it looks like there is just a hint of gold. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to use a stencil. This is just a word stencil. Haven't the foggiest what it says, but it is just a little bit of background. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pounce the gold paint onto my brush, and then we're just going to stipple through. Okay, and this is, like I said, just to basically give us a little bit of interest, okay, onto that beautiful red that is already there. So we don't want to go over the whole lot. Like I said, it's just in places. Okay, so it's just a hint of interest, and just keep on pouncing that over. And you can see I'm keeping the stencil really firmly in position by just anchoring it just down the bottom there, just so we can like lift it up there and see through. Okay, so just keep on going round. And obviously if you're using text like this, just be mindful which way round it is actually on the box. So the holes for the hinges are at the back here, the clasp is at the front. So I'm just going to move that, I'm just going to come down here. Okay, and then we're going to lift the stencil completely off and then just reposition it just there. And again, I'm just going to pounce that sponge brush just over the top of the stencil, making sure it's really well anchored in there. So okay, like so. So you can see it's just added a lot more detail, but relatively quickly as well. So I'm just going to take the stencil just up, just so you don't get like a repeat pattern which is identical from there to there. So I'm just going to move that up just slightly. Okay, just make sure it's near enough square, and then again just anchor that down with your fingers as much as possible, and we're just going to pounce that through. You don't want, and this is really important actually, you don't want too much paint actually on there, so just keep on reloading it. Otherwise what you may find will happen is that the paint actually seeps underneath the stencil, and you don't really want that to happen. So there we go, let's just peel that up. Okay, and again just going to move it down to here. Okay, again make sure it's square. Okay, which is about there. And then again, we're just going to go over the top of that. So I have now stenciled all over the top surface of the box, just to add, like I say, that little bit of interest. And then on the edges I have also, there we go, popped the same stencil all of the way around. So now I've done that part, I'm going to use another stencil, which is this beautiful snowflake one. I'm going to go on the bottom part of the box. So what I tend to do is the larger snowflakes first. Okay, like so. And just always just peel back just to make sure it's there. And then I'm going to pop this one here, and don't be afraid, that's the other thing, to actually go over the edge, okay, of the box. Okay, so there's no right or wrong, you just basically want to build up a pattern. A lot of this is going to be covered with the ribbon that says Merry Christmas later as well. And when the paint is that thin, it's not going to take that long to dry, to be honest with you. So let's just go in with a couple of the smaller ones. And just as with the gold, just make sure there's not too much paint on your foam brush so it seeps underneath. And then just, like I say, continue to create that pattern. So that's all four sides of the box, all decorated up with that stencil. So now what I'm going to do is just pop the box up on its end, and then we're just going to line up this beautiful Merry Christmas ribbon. That's basically going to go in the center of the height of the box. So I'm just going to measure that up more accurately, and then I'm going to use some double-sided tape to actually hold that in place. So I've just marked off my points on my box, and now I'm just popping the double-sided, so I'm just starting from one end of the box, finding my marks on the other, and just going with that, and then making sure that double-sided tape is really pressed down firmly. I'm going to do that on all four sides, and then we'll attach the ribbon. So I have my double-sided tape all the way around. The reason I'm not using a wet glue is because the wet glue is probably going to seep through, so it could make a bit of a mess. Now this is the front of the box because I've got my two holes here for the clasp. So what I want to do is position it so I have Merry Christmas in the middle, okay, sort of like centered like so, but I've got enough ribbon here to go basically all the way around down this side and all the way along at the back. So I've got a little bit hanging out there, basically because we don't want the join of the ribbon to be sort of like at the front of the box where it's visible. So I'm just going to now take off the double-sided tape, okay, and then I will position the Merry Christmas ribbon going all the way around. So I'm just pressing everything down there, just really making sure that double-sided tape has got a grip of our ribbon. Okay, and then it's a case of just turning that round and then doing all of the other sides. So there is the ribbon all of the way around the box. Okay, so you just want to make sure, like I said, that's really pressed nice and firmly on that double-sided tape all the way around. Okay, and just about done for the main bottom part of the box. Okay, so there it is. So again, remembering where the front bit is, so like I say, that is the one with the two holes in there. I'm just going to possibly put two really sparkly stars actually on there, and apart from that, I think we're going to possibly leave the base exactly as it is. But first of all, I will stick those stars on, and then we'll come back and we'll start to decorate the top part of the lid. So now everything is dry, it's a time to just step back, have a look how we're going to decorate the lid. So what I've actually got here is lots of the embellishments that have come from Hobbycraft. So the snowflakes and the stars in various sizes. I've still got those like Scrabble type letters there. So I've basically stuck them on top of the snowflakes and then extended 2 more snowflakes either side. I've then got some stars around the edge. Now, as I said before, all of the little letters come with little sticky dots on. I'm going to take them off again purely so I can put my gel medium on and I can move them around to my heart's content until I'm happy with everything, how it's all laid out. So first of all, I need to put some glitter on all of the stars so they really twinkle, and then I'm going to paint all of the snowflakes white whilst popping some holographic or iridescent glitter over the top whilst the paint is still dry. So I'm going to do that and then I'll come back and we'll see how it's all shaping up. So whilst all the stars and indeed the snowflakes are drying, I'm going to just do one more bit. So I'm just going to pop these under my desk to dry. Okay, and then we're going to flip this around. Okay, make sure that the surface is clean because we need to put in the ampersand. So like I say, we just need to take off the bottom of that sticky label there and we're going to stick it into the center of the star. So I'm just going to grab some of my gel medium again and we shall do that because that's one thing that we could possibly have forgotten. So just put a little bit on there. Okay, remembering that it's obviously got to take the texture of the glitter so we can have that fairly thick. Okay, but again, not so much that it oozes out. I'm just going to place that in the middle of our star. Let me just hold that up. Okay, it needs to go that way just a bit. Okay, right, so there is our finished inside of the box lid. Okay, so merry and bright. So I'm just going to wait, like I say, for the stars and the snowflakes to dry, then we can decorate what is the top of the lid. So we can now start sticking all of these pieces together to decorate the front of the box. Again, be mindful that you are the correct way. So if you've got text like I have, it's actually this way. So the holes for the hinges are at the back and the clasp is at the front. So what we're going to do is, like I say, just stick everything into position. So first of all, we're going to go for that snowflake. And again, I'm going to be using my gel medium just because I know that sticks really well with 3D objects like this. So I'm just applying it with my paintbrush. So I'm just going to position all of the snowflakes and then we've got the lettering that's going to go on top of them that says Christmas. So depends if you're completely OCD about things, a little bit like I am, I suppose, but you just want to make sure that the Christmas, so the S is going to sit in the middle there, okay, like so. The I is on that side and then the T sits there. Or if you wanted the snowflake that way, let's just see if it does work that way. So we've got the T there and the I there. So let's have a look. I think I like it like that. So I'm just going to gently layer that in there. I'm just going to quickly measure to make sure that we're near enough central. So that's 17.5 that way and just, yeah, 17.5 that way, just a smidgen. So let's just pull that over. And again, likewise, just going around that way. So we are 8 centimeters there and we are 9 there. As I said to you before, I always do like to actually just have a little bit more height, okay, going upwards, so there's always a little bit more space on the bottom than there is at the top. So let me just place those there and I'll glue, okay, just press that down we can spin that around a little bit. Okay, so just make sure that it's pressed down nicely. Okay, I'm not going to actually stick these letters on quite yet, so I just want to space them like so. And then we've got our other snowflake, and maybe the other snowflake could go that way, just again to add a little bit of interest, and it will also help support the two other letters. So let's have a look, and obviously make sure that we actually spell this correctly when we get to it. So we've got that and that and that and that. That looks quite nice like that. And then we've got the two other snowflakes, and I think again we will then pop them the opposite way around, and we've got the C and we've got the S that goes on the end. But we can like space those out a little bit, but I'm pretty happy with how that works. So let me just place my Christmas word up the top there, and I will get sticking these snowflakes into position. Okay, all the snowflakes are in position, so just make sure you've got the word Christmas all spelled correct before you actually stick it down. Nothing worse than having a project where everything is looking good and then you make a big spelling mistake. It's easily done, believe me. So again, we're just using the gel medium to stick all of those down as well. Again, I'm just going to bring the ruler back in just so it sits on there, and then we can push all of those letters down just so they're all sitting nice and straight on a line. And again, you can just play around with that spacing just so everything sits just right. There we go, that's the Christmas bit done. I've now got the name to put in, so let's just bring that in. Okay, just place everything, and then it was a case basically of just arching that, so we knew that the O there is the middle, okay, of the name, so we can just place that on a slight arc like that. Okay, so you've got there. And again, when you're happy with it, then you can start sticking it down. What I tend to do, I actually just leave everything in place, okay, and then just take one letter at a time. So start with the middle one, okay, pop some of the glue on, and then just start with that, and then work your way out like we did last time. Okay, so maybe we'll just go a little bit higher. Okay, make sure it's in the center, and then I'll stick those ones down as well. So I've now just placed the two words Eve and box. Now you might find it a little bit difficult to actually take one off and then re-stick it back down. So my tip is use another little block, okay, and then just line it up with the letter that you want to stick down. So keep that one in place and then remove the one you want to stick down. Okay, pop some glue onto there, and again holding the one that you just placed there, then pop that one on top, and then you know you've got like perfect alignment. So again, we can just do that with all of the other letters as well. Right, so what I've done, I've decided that I actually need another 2 stars on the inside of the box lid, so I'm just going to quickly just stick those into position. Okay, let's pop 1 just there, and the other one just there. And that's just to balance things out. It's always the case, you know, you start a project, you look at it again, you think, yeah, it's still missing something. So this just like to fill a little bit of that space. So I'm just going to pop that one there, just press that down, and as we did before, you know, if you have an old brush, you can then just go around there and you can just scoop up any of the glue that has come out. Right, there we go then. That is it. Let me just push that one over a little bit, and then just going to go in there again. Just take that glue out. Right, because we've used the wet glue there, we can keep on just wiggling things around until we're happy. Okay, so I'm just going to again just go in there just to wipe out some of that glue. Right, so we're going to let that fully dry, and then we're going to start on the other side of this lid to then fully decorate it, and then we can start putting the box furniture back on that is safely in that tub. Right, so that's all of the letters in place. So now I'm just going to stick the stars, and basically what it's going to be 4 of the big stars, okay, with one point pointing towards each of the corners like so, and then just some random stars just around them. So 2 of each. There we go, like so. And then we could just have a couple of these stars as well, just going around just to like finish it off. So I'm just going to stick those ones down, and then it's definitely a case we will be able to stick the furniture back on and our Christmas Eve box will be finished. So just down to the final snowflake to finish this off. So again, a little bit of the gel medium just on the back of that snowflake. Okay, not too much. This stuff sticks pretty well, so you don't need too much of it, but just make sure you've got them right on the end, the tips of the snowflake. And then I'm just going to twist that round. You can see I'm just going to pop that one there and press that one down, and then just get my brush again just to get rid of any glue that has seeped out around the edge. Okay, and there is our finished box lid. Well, I think it's probably finished, but you never know with me, I always like to add things. Right, let's now put the furniture back on and actually see the finished box. Well, that's my Christmas Eve box fully decorated, and I think you'll agree that ribbon is rather special going around the actual box itself. Really, really pretty. I put the furniture back on, so this is the clasp on the front, the hinges are on the back, and obviously on the top there we decorated it so everyone knows it's my Christmas Eve box, and I wonder what I'm going to be getting inside it. Talking of inside, can you remember we actually decorated the inside as well at the very top of the show, and what we've put inside there is merry and bright. So fully decorated using products from Hobbycraft here in the UK. I hope you've liked this video. If so, please consider to click on the like button, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and why not click on the notifications button as well. This will allow you to be notified of all brand new content when I upload to my YouTube channel. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you'll join me again real soon for another crafting video. Until then, take care and thanks for watching.